Not a ton of new products came into my life this year. Well, that's actually a lie. That's actually a fucking lie because I bought a lot. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a hot fucking second, that's for sure. It's been so long since I filmed. It's been a little while since I've uploaded. I want to stop saying that every time I film a video, but long story short, I was stuck in a place that wasn't my home for longer than I wish because of our great friend coronavirus, and I didn't have access obviously to any of my filming stuff or really most of my makeup. I really don't want to get into it because it was a really sad time. But the good thing is that I'm home now and I'm able to film videos again, and I hope that this video isn't too late. I mean, it's only like halfway through January, so whatever, but this is going to be my 2020 beauty favorites, or makeup favorites specifically. Hopefully, yeah, it's not too late and people still want to watch this content. It wouldn't be my channel if I did anything on time, truly. I don't have a ton of favorites. Everything that I loved last year that I put in my 2019 favorites video, I still love. And I did actually a really good job of rotating through my collection, I feel, specifically in terms of like blush, highlight, bronzer, even complexion products. Like I used everything that I own like pretty equally, with the exception obviously of a few things. So I don't have a ton, but the ones that I do have are really great in my opinion. I really want to have this video under half an hour, so I'm just going to fucking start talking. In terms of like primer and stuff, everything that I loved last year I still love. My Makeup Forever Mattifying primer is still like my favorite. I still use it literally every day and I have no desire to get anything different, so obviously that's still a favorite. In terms of foundations, again, I still love everything that I loved last year, but there have been two foundations that have come into my life this year that I really have just loved so much. One of them being the Ordinary Coverage Foundation. I use the shade 1.0N. It's gonna come as no surprise to anyone that this is the lightest shade. I just love this. I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go on and on about it, but it's just a really good middle of the road foundation. I genuinely believe that pretty much anyone with any skin type would get along with this foundation. It's not super full coverage. It's a pretty decent medium coverage. It blends really well. It has like a generally okay lasting power. It's not my longest wearing foundation, but it lasts like probably good like 6 hours or so before I get super oily. Especially now in these COVID times, I'm not looking for longevity out of my foundations. That's not like my number one concern. Shade range is okay. Definitely could expand it, as with I feel like 98% of foundation ranges, but I've been really enjoying this, and it's so affordable. It's literally $6 Canadian. I dare you to find something better than that, so I've just been loving this. The next foundation that I've also been loving is what I'm wearing today. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. Similar vibes to the Ordinary one. This is obviously a little bit more expensive. I took a break from mentioning L'Oreal on my channel for a while, but I honestly feel like the reason that I wanted to stop using them or talking about them anyway is kind of like too little too late. Am I being performative? Because I give all my money to Maybelline anyway, and they're owned by the same people. Anyway, I've been loving this foundation. I think it's so good. Obviously, this is a favorites video. It's basically, I would say, similar coverage to the Ordinary foundation. They're actually very similar. It's, again, really middle of the road, not super matte, not dewy, like pretty like satin, in my opinion anyway. It lasts really well. It doesn't break up or get gunky. It's just a really beautiful foundation. L'Oreal foundations obviously run pretty expensive, but I honestly feel like I prefer this a little bit more to the matte foundation that L'Oreal does. I've been really loving this. For concealers, again, I didn't find a ton that I really loved this year, but I have revisited and found a new love for the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. The one I have is the shade 10 Fair, way too dark for me, but it's not super full coverage, so I can get away with it. It's really beautiful. Like I said, not super full coverage. It really just evens out your complexion. I use it always in conjunction with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, which is another favorite, but I definitely talked about this last year. I cannot be without this. I actually repurchased this. It's beautiful. This is another, favorite, obviously. This is what I use to cut my creases, like, every time. I love it. But this, it's just such a beautiful concealer. It gives your skin, like, a hydrated look while covering up, like, discoloration or whatever you use concealer for to cover up. But it just makes your skin look healthy, glowy, but not, like, too glowy. It's really nice. Again, they need to expand their shade range for sure. They recently did, but they can definitely make some improvements. But this is just such a good concealer. Not a new one, but one that I found a new love for in 2020. In terms of powder, I've been loving the powders that I've always been loving. Maybelline Fit Me powder is always going to be like one of my go-tos, but this year I found a love for the Beauty Bakerie Flour Powder. This is the shade Rice, so it's a white. I don't mind it, but if I were to buy this again, I would probably get translucent because this is like a full white powder. It's lovely. This powder is so beautiful. It's really lightweight. It's not quite as thick as the Maybelline one if you've tried that, but I don't think it sticks down weird in any like areas of your face. It really has such a beautiful blurring quality to the skin. I just love this. It makes your makeup last a super long time. It's really great. I think this beats out the Maybelline one just a little bit more, but because it is a little bit more expensive, it's not so super expensive. It's a little bit pricier than the Maybelline one. I honestly can't remember how expensive this is off the top of my head, but I definitely, if I run out of this, would consider repurchasing this. I think it's a really great option. In terms of setting sprays and stuff, I was really into glowy setting sprays at the beginning of the year, so there wasn't one that I went through like multiple times, but this is more of a recent discovery, but one that I just absolutely adore. It's the Maybelline Lasting Fix Makeup Setting Spray. I've also talked about this in a favorites video, but if you are dry or not oily, basically, I don't think you'd love this, but if you are oily, this is so good and no one talks about it. I've never seen anyone talk about this. It's a setting spray. Obviously, it's going to take away the powderiness of your skin and just, melt the powders together, but it also is going to make your makeup last all day long without drying it out. It's definitely matte though, so if you don't like a matte finish to your skin, stay far away from this. But if you are looking for a setting spray that is going to genuinely make your makeup last longer, this is great. And I do love there's like a pixie spray, I think it's like the makeup fixing mist or something like that. I do love that, but this is a close second to that and at least half the price, so I would definitely recommend checking this out. I've been loving that. I can definitely see myself going through multiple bottles of that. In terms of bronzer, I can't remember if I think I did talk about this last year, but I'm just going to mention it again. Fenty Beauty Stalk'r bronzer. I use the shade Inda Sun. It's a perfect bronzer for fair skin. It's buildable. It's so easy to blend. It's not super orange. It's just the perfect tone if you have really fair skin. Everyone loves this. I have continued to love this throughout this year, but when I was going through the bronzers that I have, I did remember that at the beginning of 2020, I was loving using the Essence Pure Nude Sunlighter in the shade 40 Be My Sunlight as a bronzer. This is obviously going to be a bronzer only on people who are fair, but it's I think it would make a really beautiful highlight if you have a deeper skin tone. It's such a rich bronze tone, and I just think it's so beautiful. It's a really great bronzer topper, or I just honestly was using it as a full bronzer. I don't think it was too orange leaning or too like glowy. It didn't look like you were using a highlighter all over your face as a bronzer, and I was loving using this in the summer. I think it's really, really beautiful. And Essence is a brand that I don't know that I love and that I would continue to buy from, but there are some products in here that I have tried that I loved, and I mean, I can't deny I love this. Highlighter is a category that, again, I found myself really evenly rotating through my highlighter collection for the most part. Like, there wasn't necessarily one highlighter that I just used over and over and over again. That being said, there are some that really stick out in my mind as being just top-notch highlighters of 2020. Two of those being the Kaleidos Space Age highlighters. I love these. I love Kaleidos as a brand. They're easily one of my favorite brands, but I have the shade Star Surfer. This is a light pink. These are the old like versions. I know they reformulated and redid the packaging. Honestly, go-to pink highlighter. This is the highlighter I'm pretty sure that I'm wearing in my swatching on my pink eyeshadow video. They just have like a glow without being obnoxious, without being a stripe on your face, but they just make you look so glowy and beautiful and healthy and just amazing. And then I have also the shade Ray Rider, which is like a champagne peachy color. I can wear this no problem, and I'm very fair. I do think that they could expand their shade ranges a little bit more because all of the shades that they have do seem a little bit light. But yeah, I just think these are such beautiful highlighters, and the packaging is so unique and so cute. I'm not normally a fan of boxes for like makeup product shapes, but I just think they're so nice. I think I bought this year, and I think this is a really beautiful product. Again, another questionable brand. If 2020 has been anything, it's exposing brands for being just pieces of shit. But anyway, Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter. This is the shade Lit. This is a really beautiful product, and it is one that I have loved this year. Do I see myself buying from Milk anytime in the future? No. But I can't deny I have loved this. This is a very intense highlight though, so if you are not into that, you will not like this. But I just think it's so beautiful. It's like a gel almost formula. Whenever I want a really intense highlighter, I grab for this. It blends into the skin so beautifully, and it gives me all my like intense highlighter dreams, which I am a fan of. Another single highlighter that I was loving that I probably mentioned last year as well, but Natasha Denona Super Glow. I used the shade 01 Fair. I don't use this for periods of time, and then I use it again and I remember all the reasons why I love this. It's so glorious. It makes, I don't know what it is. There's something about this highlighter that I can't quite describe. I can't quite put my finger on what makes this so special, but it is just so special. It makes your skin look glowy and sheeny, but not like so obvious that you're wearing a highlight. It just makes you look hydrated, glowy, like glow from within, but amped up all the way. And I just can't describe what it is, because even when you swatch it and when you like feel it, it doesn't feel like it's gonna be amazing. And then you put it on your skin and it like transforms you into looking like you've drank like a liter of water. And I actually don't drink water like at all, so that for me is big. Highlighter palettes, these, I have reached for these so much. The Makeup Addiction Cosmetics Holy Glow highlighter palettes, I have both. This is volume 1, and this is the one that I've reached for the most. I love these. They're so beautiful. Again, I need to stop saying that, but they're really intense. But I find once you blend them into the skin, they don't, again, look like a super intense strip of highlight. It just makes your skin look glowy. This shade Pink Champagne. Now, there are no words to describe how much I love this. I use this as a blush topper basically anytime I wear peach blush. It just makes your skin look so juicy and healthy, and I love it so much. This is the volume 2. This has more like colored highlighters. I will say this palette looks insanely gorgeous on deep skin. I don't think my skin tone really does this justice. This is a green. This is like anytime I need a green highlight, I use this because it's green, but it's not like in your face green. It's a subtle green. It's a wearable green. This is a beautiful pink shade. This is the most beautiful bronze eyeshadow I've ever used. It's just delectable. It's so good. Highly recommend checking this brand out. I really, really love them. Also, last highlighter palette. I say I don't have that many highlighter favorites as I talk for 28 minutes about highlighters, but Beauty Bakerie Milk and Honey palette. I think this is so delicious. Really reminds me of the ABH highlighter formula. This shade, what is this called? Spoiler alert, the champagne shade. So good. Again, very similar vibes to the Natasha Denona highlighter as well. A little bit thicker, but I find that type of formula, when you blend it into your skin, just looks glowy, beautiful. They don't look like stripes of highlights. This shade, Be Sweet, this peachy shade, beautiful inner corner highlight, beautiful blush topper. If you're going to try anything from Beauty Bakerie, I would really, really recommend checking this highlighter palette out because it's just so good. Blush. Blush. One of my favorite makeup categories, makeup products. If you watch me at all, you know I love blush. I mean, look at me today. I fucking love blush, okay? One of my favorites from last year, I have to give it another shout out. It's Likely Makeup Clown Blush Palette, or just Likely Makeup. I think it's just Likely Makeup. But this brand was started by It's Likely Makeup, or Jordy, on YouTube and Instagram. She does lashes, but I haven't tried any of those. But this is just my dream blush formula. I love this palette so much. If you are a blush lover, you need this. This is probably the only makeup product that I will say you need if you love blush. You need this. It's easy to blend, pigmented, but not so pigmented that it's unworkable on fair skin, but pigmented that it's going to work, I think. Obviously, I have a difficult time speaking to that, but I imagine that it would work really beautifully on basically anyone's skin tone because it is just the perfect level of pigmentation. Another blush palette that I've been using a ton is the Beauty Bakerie Scoops Elysees blush palette. Specifically this shade, Pink Truffle. This pink shade is so beautiful. I love this orange shade called French Tart. They're just really, really nice, a nice blush formula. Two favorites that I recently have discovered, but that I literally have to include in this video. Colored Raine X Power collab. It's the blush and highlighter duo in the shade Prove My Loyalty. This is what I'm wearing on my face today. I'm trying not to blind you. It's so delicious. It's intense, especially if you have fair skin like me, but I love it. This blush looks like you've been whipped in the face by wind for like 70 hours, and I love it. It's a look, but it's a look I love. And this is it doesn't really have a base to it. It's very similar to the Fenty like Diamond Bomb, but a little easier to use in my opinion. It's basically just sparkle, but because of that, it looks like wet on your cheeks. It's just delightful. It's so beautiful. I don't feel like it migrates all over your face, which I find with the Fenty one. It's delicious. I love using this together. It's my go-to red blush. It's, like I said, it's really intense, but if you like red blush, you need it. And then this is a very recent purchase and a recent discovery, but it's so beautiful. It's the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Foil Freestyle Highlighter Duo in the shade Mimosa Sunrise and Sangria Sunset. I use these as blush toppers, or just sometimes I just use them alone as blushes. Delectable. Again, just such a beautiful formula. It makes your cheeks look so glowy, so juicy. I've been on the glowy blush train this year. I have absolutely been loving it. This next category, I'm going to try not to speak too much on each of these products. It's eyeshadow palettes. You already know how much I love eyeshadow, and I think you could probably guess what these palettes are going to be. I think I'm going to do an entire video just talking about the eyeshadow palettes that I bought in 2020 because there's a few of them, but these are really the main highlights. These are the ones that I've loved the most. Let's start off with the most, to me, memorable. I guess technically they came out in 2019, but I didn't get my hands on them until 2020. The Melt Amore Eternal collection. How do I do this here? Whatever, it doesn't matter. The Melt Amore Eternal collection. This is the Muerte palette. This is the Vita palette. The Muerte is my true, like, one and only love. I absolutely love it. It's the most delicious palette you've ever seen in your life. I don't know why I've suddenly started using the word delicious to describe things in this video because I literally never say that, but here we are. Full of deep, colorful mattes. I love this palette to death. I've talked about this before though, and it's limited edition, so I'm not going to go so on and on about this, but I've gotten so much use out of that this year. I also love the Vita collection. These reds, that metallic orange. I cannot get enough of this palette. It's just so beautiful. Definitely been a love for sure. Then we gotta talk about the Lunar Beauty Moonspell palette. This is not a palette that I generally use alone, but I have been using the shit out of this year. It's so hard to show this palette without just fucking up the lighting so bad. But I've gotten a ton of use out of this. It's just the most beautiful, witchy, colorful. It's like bright grungy, if that makes any sense. I'm wearing the shade Winifred and the shade Kiki in my crease today, along with another palette that I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to close this. But, I mean, again, I've talked about this a ton. I love this. It's beautiful. The packaging I could stare at all day. It's been a highlight of 2020, that is for sure. Again, another palette that I just can't stop talking about, Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity. I'm also wearing this palette on my eyes today. I'm wearing Major Mahogany, which is the shade up here in my crease, and then Saturnalia all over my lid. And then I'm also wearing a little bit of Cosmic tapped in the middle of my lid. Pat McGrath, I never expected to buy from her, but I'm so glad that I did. I love the metallics in here. The mattes blend beautifully. I love the color story. I love these shadows so much. This palette makes me so happy, and I'm so glad that I bought it. It just has been truly a palette highlight of 2020. I love every single look that I ever create using this palette, and the way that these metallics catch the light is like nothing else. I swear to God, it just, so good. Colored Raine, Safari Raine. Again, you already know that I love this. I'm not going to talk about it too much in depth, but I've really fallen in love with Colored Raine as a brand this year. This is Grungy Dreams in a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. Honestly, gives Melt Gemini a run for its money. Has such just perfect shade selection. The metallics are so intense. The mattes are pigmented, easy to blend. Love, 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 love. And I have 3 Juvia's Place palettes that I actually bought in 2019, but that I got towards the end, so I've been using them mostly this year. The Warrior 2, I didn't expect to get as much use out of this as I have. It's honestly my go-to companion palette if I need a matte, if I need a matte black, if I need a matte white, if I need some like brown shades to throw in my crease. I love Juvia's Place's formula, you already know that, and this has just been such a great palette for me that I can't ever see myself being without. The Tribe, one of the most unique eyeshadow palettes in my collection. Again, this is like my go-to green palette if I need green mattes. just so beautiful. Such a unique color story that I feel is just done so right. These two metallic shades in the middle, the shade Coral is such a beautiful like goldy green duochrome. The shade Shaga is such a beautiful like almost bronze green duochrome. Such a good palette. I've loved the shit out of that this year. And then another surprising one, the Warrior, the original Warrior palette. I got this pretty recently. I don't think I've even really featured it on my channel, but it has quickly become my go-to neutral palette. Anytime I have to do like a work zoom or anything like that, I wear this. It's so beautiful. I love the tone of this brown. It's called Kano. Such a beautiful like almost yellow tone brown. I love that there's a deep dark chocolate brown in here. The metallics are such beautiful like honey tones. And I didn't expect for a palette this neutral to be in my yearly favorites, but it's like Soft Glam used to be the one neutral palette that I would always reach for, and this palette really has surpassed that. And that's saying a lot because I used to use the shit out of my Soft Glam palette. Obviously, I've been loving my Kaleidos palettes this year. I can't remember if I talked about them in my 2019 favorites video. I don't think so because I might have only filmed my first impressions. I can't remember when I filmed that, but I've been loving my Kaleidos palettes. Again, like I said, one of my favorite brands. I know that I've talked about these before, so I'm not going to go on and on about them. One of my favorite eyeshadow formulas, such beautiful color stories. You'll be seeing more Kaleidos content from me coming at you. I won't say soon, but coming at you eventually. I love Kaleidos as a brand, and I will also, this is more like an honorable mention. It's not necessarily like a favorite. Colored Raine Juicy Boost. I got this pretty recently, but I've been using the shit out of it lately. I've posted a lot of looks on Instagram using this palette. I know it's very like love or hate. I really love it. I think the color story is beautiful. I love the metallics in here, and I don't think I've like used it enough or tested it enough to say like it's a really true like favorite of this year. But I will say that I've been enjoying using it. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Now I'm quickly going to go over some single shadows, and I think we're almost done, to be honest. My JD Glow shadows. These are all the big pans here. I've done an entire video swatching these and going over all the shades that I have. Just the most special eyeshadow formula that I've ever tried, I think, honestly. While I love Pat McGrath's shimmer formula, metallic formula, these just knock it out of the park. Glittery. There's nothing like these, honestly. If you love sparkly eyeshadow, you need these. And they're like $7 a pop, which in and of itself is great. And if you get them on sale, that's even better. Perfection. The shade Anomaly is like a blue-purple duochrome. The way it catches a light in direct sunlight is like I could cry thinking about it. The shade Prismatic, it's like a lime green. Unexpected, these are probably my top 3. Unexpected is like nothing else. And I've just been absolutely loving them this year. This is random, and I know that I think I briefly mentioned this in one of my videos as just being okay, but the more I think about it, the more I just really love this. And it's kind of random, but it's Pat McGrath single eyeshadow in the shade Dark Matter. It's basically just a single black, and I bought this because it went on sale at Sephora, and I just wanted a single black shadow in my collection that I could use to set my liner, to put in my outer corner. I basically put a black shadow in my outer corner every time I do my makeup. I love my makeup to have depth, my eyeshadow looks to have depth, and I just use black shadow all the time, so I wanted a single one. And at first I was like, it's okay. It's not like the most dense pigmented black that you've ever used, but for that reason I like it because it allows so much control And while I maybe wouldn't use this like all over the lid for a black smoky eye or something, for example, I love using this to put in my outer corner because you can really control the amount of pigment. You can build it up. It blends really beautifully, and for what I use it for, it works perfectly. So if you wanted a black shadow just to do that, to put in your outer corner, to gently build up in your crease, to deepen looks up subtly, but not so that it looks like there's a super pigmented like black that you have to be really, really gentle with, I think this is really great. I don't know that I would pay full price for this because it is like $20, I think, full price. But if you can snag this on sale, I would recommend it, because who doesn't? I mean, maybe some people don't, but I just use the shit out of this, and I haven't had it for that long, but it's like super well loved. So that really has been a favorite this year. Pat McGrath in general has really surprised me in a way that I didn't think she would. Okay, and now we're on to lips. Again, with the age of mask wearing, I have been rotating through my lipstick collection for videos and stuff. I haven't been wearing like a ton of lip products on the daily for obvious reasons. I'm not going anywhere and I'm wearing a mask when I am. But I have a few that I've been loving. Lip liner, the L'Oreal Color V Sharpenable Lip Liner in the shade 114 Matte and Kohl. I love this. Very similar in my opinion to the ColourPop formula. It's very creamy. Almost too creamy, but I do like it. It's really easy to apply, really easy to like blend the edges and whatever. This is like probably the deepest I would ever go in terms of lip liner. I can get a little bit crazy with it. Okay, it can kind of look a little bit intense if I'm not careful, but I love this as a deep lip liner. If you're really fair, it's a really beautiful tone of brown. It's very neutral without being like too warm or too cool. That's what neutral means. So there you go. But I've been really, really, really loving this quite a lot. Propa Beauty lipsticks. I did an entire video on these and I've been loving them so much. I think they're just this really solid bullet lipstick formula, and they've been like probably the main bullet lipstick formula that I've been reaching for. I'm wearing the shade Finesse on my lips today. This is the one that I use the absolute most. It's a really beautiful yellow toned nude for my skin tone. Beautiful. Such a great formula. Creamy, but it wears down to almost like a satin, almost matte finish. It doesn't like get gunky or weird all over your lips. Would highly recommend. Lip gloss. I'm not gonna talk too much about these because you know Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. I love this. I'm wearing the shade Diamond Milk on my lips today. I want to get all of the colors, but right now I only have two, Fussy and Diamond Milk. Makes our lips look so delicious and glossy and glass-like, and I never thought that I'd become a gloss person, but these glosses have made me a gloss person. And I've also been really loving the Essence Shine 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 Wet Look Lip Gloss. This is just clear. I think the shade is like Behind the Scenes. Again, Essence as a brand, questionable, but this lip gloss is the only clear lip gloss that I can ever see myself needing. It makes your lips look so glass-like and juicy. It smells delicious. And it's really affordable. So if you're looking for a clear lip gloss, this is definitely one to check out. And I think that's actually the end of this video. Not a ton of products, especially not compared to last year. I feel like my video last year was so long, but these are really so great, like just so great, and I would put everything I have behind them. I think they're just beautiful products. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!